moves into the designated pit for a 4-tire change and engage the fuel can. No fueling though. Then he completes that lap. And the fastest time is the pole winner for Heat 1 and for the All-Star race. While the Pit Crew Challenge, which just measures what happens in that pit box and getting in and getting out, well, that will determine pit selection for the All-Star race this weekend. Where's Larry Mack?
Larry Mack is standing in a pit box where Larry Mack is happy. This is one of the pit boxes they'll be using for the Pit Crew Challenge. Yeah, it's about the 4-tire stop that will happen right here inside this box. There's more to it. The timing starts all the way up here, one pit box away. This is where the clock stops, one box away from the pit box right there. But when you get here, the most critical part of this pit stop, yeah, it's what the tire changers, the jackman do, but it's about the driver. See this mark right here, these 2 marks? This is where that crew needs that driver to stop. If he doesn't stop right here, it's gonna throw the timing off of the jackman and the front tire changer. So that part is really critical. Then the driver leaves the box, he's gotta go all the way to here. One pit box away, so 87 feet, including the pit stop. That's the time for the Pit Crew Challenge for these 38 teams. And Mike, you talked about it, pit selection, also $100,000 to the winning crew.
That's awesome. Now, Larry, while we've got you, what about mistakes?
Yeah, there are penalties, a lot like we see on race day. If a crew member goes over the wall too soon, for example, it's a double hit. It'll be a 10-second penalty added to the pit stop time and a 10-second penalty added to the overall time. Speeding, it's 10 seconds per segment added to the overall time. Don't ask me any more questions. I'm out of breath.
Yeah, you better be careful down there, Larry. You keep running around like that, you're going to have to call that exercise.
10 seconds. That's massive.
But it could be even more than that. That's the important part,
Right.
is the addition he said right there at the end. Don't think for a second that it can't happen more than one.
And one thing I noticed right here, guys, if we can roll to where Larry was in that pit box in front of this stall.
I think it was to the right.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
a little bit to the right. You can really see right here. That's good right there. You can really see where the cars have been driving through right here, and you can see where that concrete is clean. So to me, that dirty area over in these sections right here, you can really see where it's dirty.
Wow,
and
look at that.
That's going to be slippery for those pit crew guys to run around.
And those tires to take off.
And the rubber. So keeping those pit stalls clean so these guys running around the car don't slip is important.
Larry, I see a sweeper truck behind you. You think he could make a pass through there?
Let's get him over there. Probably what he's waiting on.
All right. We're going to take a ride around as Larry does his dance move. Nice Michael Jackson impersonation there. You're with Justin Allgaier here.
I watched Justin Allgaier take off, and this was his practice run. Watch this. I'm talking the first corner on the racetrack. Welcome to North Wilkesboro. This car jumped big time sideways on him. Whoa, Kevin and I both saw that. We looked up at the corner of our eye and saw that 5 car completely sideways. That is not what you want to be if you're Justin Allgaier filling in for him.
No, and then he had to come to pit road right here, and this is what they all practice. So a little conservative on that pit road entry, and for him, even though Justin has been driving the Xfinity car every week, everything about this Cup car is different. The brakes are different, how fast it stops, the way that it feels, and you saw all of that on the very first lap of everything that Justin did. Got really, really sideways, didn't get to pit road deep enough. Now he's looking at a different tack than what he's normally looking at. Easy into the pit box, didn't really get in there too hard, but you know, as we heard earlier, you got to practice on these tires. So he doesn't have any idea of, other than simulation, where the limits are with this car, and he learned a lot of them on that first lap.
And Kevin, you've been in this situation. I mean, this car's last time on the racetrack, it was in victory lane. Put a little pressure on him. Hard to do that when you haven't breathed yet.
Yeah, and when he went into turns 3 and 4 and got sideways like that, that made that heart rate go way up. So I've been in that position. You can tell by his hands, and mine did the same thing last year. You're real choppy, and what you're doing right there is you're trying to feel the grip limit, and he stepped past that pretty quick.
He found it.
Now let's explain why he is not eligible to run the heat. It's because he is not a former All-Star winner or winning driver or champion driver or winner the last 2 seasons. And it's the driver who's eligible for the All-Star race, not the team. So he would have to compete as an open driver. And Hendrick Motorsports elected not to put the 5 in that situation. So they'll park it. And Kyle Larson, who is eligible, will start at the tail of the field without qualifying. All right, they have backpack blowers out taking care of Larry Mack's area here.
Yeah, and regardless, all these cars are going to run through these pit stalls, so they're not going to be able to do this.
And that's basically
every time.
just fine dust is what that is. That is super slick on the race tires. So getting that cleaned up to where these guys, not only for the pit crew members coming around the cars, but those cars trying to slide into the stalls and then take back off without spinning the tires.
But there's nothing that sucks the dirt out of the ground like the cars do. Even when they blow that off, you can see the difference in the color of that concrete, where that dirt is just in those really fine
you can see
holes
where those tires
yeah.
Look how white it is right there.
All right, a little cleanup going on here at North Wilkesboro, where we're going to qualify for the heats for the All-Star race tonight.
He always pushed me off. I mean, he thought he had a friend, but now he just has a hole.
Incoherent, shocked sputtering. This is highly inappropriate. How dare you attempt to do such a thing to me?
He always pushed me off. I mean,
Grabs your shoulders and firmly pushes you away from me. No. I will not have you do that. This is completely unacceptable.
when you pushed me away, I sucked your cock off your body, and now I'm running away with it down the halls, and I'm laughing.
Incoherent, sputtering. What? Wait. Come back here.
He just grabbed me with the force. I start taking off all my clothes except for my socks, and I'm sliding up and down the Death Star halls with your cock in my mouth, and I've got the biggest, disgusting grin.
Trying to chase you, but too flabbergasted and shocked to catch you. Stop this at once. What is going on? How are you doing this?
All of the stormtroopers drop their guns and start clapping and cheering for me, and they start laughing at you.
Stops short, looking around in stunned.
It includes this and last season's race winners, Cup champs and All-Star winners who are full-time in the Cup Series now. Single car qualifying tonight that includes the 4-tire pit stop. And then we'll have 2 heat races, 75 laps each. Heat 1 sets the inside lane, Heat 2 sets the outside lane for the All-Star race. Then we have the Open, 100 laps. All laps count. Top 2 finishers plus the fan vote winners advance. Now, that puts 23 drivers into the field for 250 laps and $1 million to win. A new wrinkle. there's a promoter's caution that Marcus Smith can throw anytime before lap 220. And it's $1 million to win, of course. All right, now you still have time to vote here in no particular, okay, they're in numerical order, but they're in no particular order. This is not the order of the vote right now. But these are the top 5 vote getters among eligible drivers right now. And you have until midnight tomorrow to cast your vote. Jamie.
Well, Christopher Bell has 3 wins on the season already. He is an all-star, of course, but this is about the pit crew coming up here and, of course, your qualifying effort. But how awesome was it last year to celebrate with your guys? They got the job done. They got that $100,000.
Yeah, they smoked it. They've gone 2 in a row now with different drivers as well. They had Ty back the first year that we did it, and they won. They won with me last year. So I know that the boys are going to be up for the job. I dropped the ball last year in qualifying. It's really unique because you have the driver getting to pit road and your lap on track, and then the pit crew as well. So my pit crew won their part, and I didn't win my part. So hopefully we can do a little bit better driving, and the pit crew, I know they'll show up.
What is it like in this format, and maybe a little extra nerves for this qualifying effort?
Yeah, I mean, everything is just pushed to the limit. So your pit road speeds, normally there's a buffer built in. Sometimes you exceed that in speed, but now we are literally pushing it to the limit. And what everyone has found out is that green flag entry is super important too. So maximizing getting to pit road and then landing and trying to find your lights without going over pit road speed, it makes it difficult, but you got to push it. And the guy who makes no mistakes and does it the best is going to win the pole.
Gotta whoa it up. Can't go over 30 miles an hour. That is pit road speed, Regan.
Well, Jamie, Tyler Reddick standing outside of his car in the pit box as well right now. Tyler, made your laps, did things already. I want to ask you first, though, about All-Star Weekend and what it's like being up here at North Wilkesboro. This place has got a lot of special feel to it. How nice has it been having this race here?
It is really nice. You know, I think I haven't been in NASCAR my whole life yet, but every year that I would drive up to Bristol, I pass North Wilkesboro and, you know, just get sad seeing it decaying as it was. But just so happy that everyone involved brought this place back. You know, Marcus Smith and everybody that helped make this possible to bring us back here to give us that race on the old surface, and give us the new surface, which, you know, walking it today, it's only been a year, but the surface is really looking good for just getting repaved.
You had a couple laps out there to get your pit road speed, do everything that you had to do from that standpoint. This is a big team game coming up right now, not only your pit crew, but you having to do everything perfect. How much pressure does that put on the driver to not mess it up for the crew guys?
I think everyone, you know, we just have to welcome and accept the pressure and, you know, treat it like a money stop in the race. And, yeah, I think everybody, you know, all the guys on this pit crew are really excited. I think, honestly, everybody involved at 2311 on the pit department has been excited about this. You know, the 23, the 45 have really been doing good this year. So I'm excited about doing my part and trying to get the car in the box properly to give them the best, you know, options possible to have that fast pit stop. So, yeah, we'll just see how this all shakes out. Like you said, there's a lot of things that go into it. You know, you try to get a good feel for what you have on your out lap, you know, your in lap, the lap itself, and pit road, pit entry, exit, all those things come into play. So it's nice to get a feel for it, but, you know, everyone kind of has an idea where they need to be now.
All right, good luck when we get out there in a little bit. Larry?
Yeah, Regan, I'm here with Joey Logano. Joey, 1 year ago, you put what I like to call a yard whooping on everybody. But this is a year later. The surface is a year older, and we got that really soft tire combination, the softest good you can make. I know you'll know here in a minute, but what do you anticipate in this practice?
Yeah, I always say what happened last year doesn't matter anymore. You got to go do it again. That's part of sports and NASCAR racing. So I think, you know, we'll see what happens as the track, you know, has a year on it. It looks like there's a lot of late model rubber on it from last night. So be interesting in the first few laps and see how the track kind of changes from that standpoint. This little patch they laid down here in 3 and 4 as well. So there's a little bit of question. We'll figure it out here in a little bit.
Well, it's been well documented, the pit crew challenge that comes after practice. If your pit crew can have the fastest time, that will give you #1 pit selection. But if you and the pit crew can set overall fastest time, pole for the heat race, but pole for the All-Star race on Sunday night, that'd be huge.
Oh, it's key, right? I mean, I look at what happened last year. That was kind of what won the whole thing. We were able to start up front and just stay there. makes life a lot easier when you don't have to go through the whole field, beat up your car, all the things that can happen when you're back there. So, yeah, the goal is to do that again. And qualifying here is fun because all of it matters, right? You got to get on the pit road good. You got to roll good. Obviously, your pit stop's got to be right. You got to leave and finish a lap good. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So it makes tonight really special when you're able to get that pole. It's the whole team that really has to come together and make it happen.
Well, Mike, Joey has that pole at Texas already, but remember a year ago it was right here that kind of jumpstart their season. They obviously were champions at the end of last year.
Yeah, he said that earlier this week, Larry, that winning the All-Star race propelled him to that championship. All right, coming up next on FS2 All-Star Practice. Then we'll have All-Star qualifying and the car. Back at historic North Wilkesboro Speedway, right alongside US 421 between Winston-Salem and Boone. The Blue Ridge Mountains. A little bit of shine and a lot of country music. And we're ready for All-Star and Open combined practice. 45 minutes of open track for all comers. 38 cars are here, all trying to be among the 23 that will run the All-Star race Sunday night. It is a muggy 85 degrees, but it is dry. A lot of rain early in the week. Not so anymore. Thunderstorms off to the west, as often is the case. But the drivers are good to go and ready to climb aboard, practicing for qualifying tonight. Mike Joy, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer with you. And how is practicing for qualifying different for practicing to race?
Well,
you do one, you don't do the other.
Yeah, you're going to qualify today, and I think you definitely want to get a feel for your car. And as we heard Tyler Reddick talk about during the last broadcast, this racetrack has aged. And Clint, you noticed the color change when you walked in. But as we watched the Cars Tour practice and race last night, you see how wide the groove is into that second groove. And that, to me, as you see turns 1 and 2, they will run at the top of that rubber. That will be the preferred groove. That top groove has about 14 degrees of banking. They haven't got all the way up there in turns 3 and 4 yet. So I'm interested to see if these Cup cars push that groove around.
Well, it was the first thing I noticed, Kevin, for sure, is, the color change in the asphalt, but the aggregate in this asphalt is different, right? It's a lot more porous, if you will, by design, right?
Yes, they actually designed it to be not as good, to try to hope that the track would age faster than what it did. And when we got in the race last year, and this year we have the softest tire that Goodyear can make, that we ran at Bowman Gray Stadium. So it's going to be interesting to see what the tire wear is, see where these cars go, how much the lap times fall off, if that's more than last year.
All right, this will be a 45-minute practice session, and it is not split open cars and all-star cars. They're all together.
This is the greatest spectacle in racing. We are green. The Indianapolis.
Lights up prime time. Let's go! As the Memphis Showboats.
What a play!
get a little more better read on your car. The bad news to that is you can't compare to anybody else because you started at a different time. So really what you're comparing to is to the rest of the field. Now they held all their cars on pit road so they can compare to each other, but where do you stack up with everybody else? So you have to wait until the second set of tires to do that.
You know, I've forgotten how this whole place vibrates when there's cars on the racetrack.
Well, they're pretty close to us.
Yeah, and I remember last year when Joey Logano did his burnout, I thought the valves were going to fly through the front window. It vibrated and sounded so loud right outside here on the front straightaway. On board with last year's champion, two-time All-Star winner, Joey Logano right here with our Ford Performance camera. Saw him up in that second groove making that pass. We know that he waited, so he's going to have a little bit fresher tires. We don't really know what the fall-off with these soft tires is going to be, but it looks like right now, see him go over that bump right there and have to make a big correction with that steering wheel. Need to make sure over that bump in turn 4.
Out there, door, quarter, clear.
Gave Michael McDowell a wave there.
Yeah,
Where do you,
right here, Clint. This is turn 4. You see that concrete on the inside. See, that time he went over the bump
Got
a little bit
higher.
lower. You go lower or higher, but if you get too low,
when you're passing somebody, it forces you lower. Watch this. Boom. Whole car jump.
Whole car
That's a
jumps
jump.
off the
That
ground.
ain't a bump.
Yeah, so you either got to go really low with that left front tire, wrap that corner longer to get the right sides only on that bump, but if you get right in the middle of it like he did right there, it'll jump the whole back off the ground.
Well, look at the speed chart. The Penske cars went out last, and look who's on top.
Yeah, and
part of that, I think, is because of the rubber burn in the racetrack. The other part is you can't forget who won this race last year.
Very true. And he didn't just win this race last year. He did exactly what he's doing right now. He just kicked everybody's butt.
Josh Berry, another fast race car unloaded off the truck. Not a good weekend last weekend, but we're going to right the ship right here with $1 million this weekend. That'd be huge. These guys have been hot.
Cool wrap. If you squint, you'll see Michael Waltrip's all-star winning car that he drove for the Wood Brothers, transferred out of the Open, won the all-star race. All part of the Wood Brothers 75th anniversary celebration.
Yeah, and you see Reddick right behind him right there, actually moved up the racetrack a little bit. Big diamond right there.
Tyler Reddick tops on the consecutive 15 and 20 lap charts as practice rolls on.
It's Saturday night.
ramp. You go up and you go down, but as they get into turns 3 and 4, they keep pushing this groove up higher and higher in the second lane. But that third lane actually has a couple more degrees of banking. So if the cars ever slow down enough to really wrap the top of that racetrack, I can't wait to see if they can push that groove even wider. But he and Tyler Reddick have definitely been the ones being the most aggressive with that second lane, and now Josh Berry right behind them has kind of followed suit.
There's a big disparity between teams as far as how much practicing is going on. John Hunter Nemechek has run the least amount of laps, 10. The Spire cars, 11. But some drivers have run over 30 laps, including the Gibbs and 2311 cars.
Yeah, and usually when your car is on pit road in these types of situations, you've got some work to do. You want to make an adjustment. Knowing that you have a second set of tires, you can come in, make those adjustments, go feel it out, and then put your tires on.
Well, that car right there, Denny Hamlin, all but turned it around getting into turn 1. I bet you they'd be tightening that thing up. Really loose getting in, it looked to me like.
Yeah, and turn 1 here, this is the exit of turn 2, but as you go to the entry of turn 1, you can't really see the elevation. You can see that back straightaway is uphill as the cars are coming off of turn 2 now. You're kind of driving into a hill, and then you go uphill all the way up the back straightaway. So a lot of elevation change here that TV doesn't really do it justice for, but that entry into turn 1, you come downhill into the front straightaway, and you can see how that wall flattens out right there. It's like you go through a flat section where the car wants to get neutral, wants to get loose, so that's why they drive it in straight and ramp up that hill.
And why is that? Well, it all comes down, as usual, to money. When this track was built, they graded the area to build the racetrack, got it as symmetrical as they could, and just ran out of development money. Instead of being able to move a whole lot of dirt from turns 3 and 4 down to 1 and 2 to make the track level. But it gives it character, and it makes this track unique.
You're looking at the best 20-lap average right there. I was watching Tyler Reddick's graph. You've seen me do that in practice sessions a lot this year. He's actually gotten faster as we've progressed. The rubber being burned into the racetrack, moving up a little bit with the track widening out.
Yeah, and I think
these are getting faster. Look at Hocevar, even higher yet.
And that's really what these guys are testing. And that's why I love these longer practice sessions and an extra set of tires. Just allows them to explore. And really with a new racetrack like this, they don't really know where the limits are as far as how far they can move this groove up. But you've seen Tyler Reddick and the car behind him, Carson Hocevar, really push that groove into areas that we haven't been before.
Why are we able to move up that high?
Well, a lot of times you would say it was tire wear, but this banking is progressive as you go from 1, 2, and 3, and that top lane is definitely more banked than every other part of the corner.
Interesting what you said about running the first couple of laps here with the late model Hoosier rubber on the track. Sunday, when we run the All-Star race, the NASCAR Modifieds, the Whelen Modified Tour, will have run Sunday afternoon. Their Hoosier rubber will be on the track when we start the All-Star race.
Yeah, for sure. And when you have that difference in rubber, it definitely makes the cars handle different. It makes the speed different. It makes the feel different. And a lot of times will give you a false read. So it is definitely a tough thing to manage. But this practice session right here, the beginning and the end and where you're running on the racetrack is changing rapidly as we see these cars through 3 and 4 just keep going higher and higher through the corner.
Joey Logano fastest, Josh Berry 6th, Austin Cindric among the Penske group in 2nd. Right now with 30 minutes to go in combined All-Star and Open practice.
Domino's new Parmesan Stuffed Crust Pizza tastes like never before. Because Domino's has never had stuffed crust before. Seriously. But we do now. So get any medium 2-topping Parmesan Stuffed Crust Pizza for $10.99 when you mix and match.
I like it. They've got this track way up in 1 and 2, starting to move it up more and more and more, inching it up in 3 and 4. That's going to open up a lot of options for these guys that make passes, slide jobs, everything in between.
Yeah, and we've seen the 77 and 54 be the ones really be able to push that groove. But you see the 9 car go by the 77. So cool tires, less laps, definitely better than the stuff that's been out there for a long time.
But the stuff that's been out there a long time is that 77 Carson Hocevar you're looking at right there. Him and Tyler Reddick are the responsible for moving that groove up. He was following Tyler Reddick, and they're
the board, and Chase Elliott was 33rd. Alan Gustafson, his crew chief, you guys came in, made some changes, and up he goes into the top 10. What did you guys do there?
Yeah, our Prime Chevy's pretty good, and it just took us a little while, too long to kind of get going, so we had to adjust to that and make it a little better for the short run. So we'll run it out here with this set of tires and see where it goes, and then make some adjustments for that second set.
All right, he's going in the right direction, guys.
Thanks, Jamie. You can tell how hard it is to hear down there because pit road is right up against the racetrack where everybody is standing down there on the inside of turn number 4. Very short distance to the racetrack. Now, Chase, one of the drivers who won the All-Star race and went on to become the NASCAR Cup champion. One of 3 to do it over the last 5 years. Larry Mack?
Yeah, Mike, the shock absorbers on this Gen 7 car can make such a huge difference about the way the car drives, the way it goes across the bumps. All of my days as a crew chief, if I wanted to make a shock adjustment, had to change the whole shock. Not the case on this Gen 7 car. Every car has the same shock on all 4 corners, but they're adjustable. You can adjust the rebound, how the shock comes out. You can adjust the compression, how it goes in, low speed, high speed. I think that's one thing I saw Alan Gustafson that Jamie Little just talked to, adjust on that 9 car. That can definitely make a difference in short run and long run speed.
Absolutely. 25 minutes to go. Todd Gilliland passing cars at will as we look at Chase Elliott, who's 9th on the board, matching his car number. Gilliland, Wallace, Herbst, Zane Smith, the fast 4 right now of the open cars. There's a look at Todd.
Yeah, and you see Todd with a little lower entry than a lot of the cars that we've been watching right there. But that line on the bottom of the racetrack into turn 1 right here where he's going, that's one thing that you can guard against as you see him split those hash marks there and shoot up. It's like a skateboard ramp and be able to just touch that banking. And a lot of the guys that were running higher than that, you got to get those right sides right against that top hash mark to make that arc a little bit bigger around the corner. So lots of different strategies and lots of different places to go on this racetrack right now.
Ross Chastain just got bumped out of the Fast 5 by Kyle Busch. So he is 6th on the board right now, with a quick lap of 18:39.
Yeah, and you can almost see as he went up the banking right there in turn 1, you can almost see the car kind of go across that seam and almost skip up through that banking. You can really notice.
You can see it pick that banking up though too.
Yeah.
As it slides up there, you see getting into that 3rd groove, if you will, it really picks up that progressive banking, helps those guys, especially with the speed up off the corner.
Yeah, you see Ryan Blaney right here. Always easy to find in that Menards paint scheme. Good for old people like us, Clint.
You can usually look for that card because it's moving.
Moving forward. Yeah.
15th on the board. Wrangler colors, Wrangler yellow and blue. All the Earnhardt fans will be waving. The Dale Senior fans, that is, and the Dale Junior fans. Why not? 23 minutes to go in All-Star and Open combined practice.
This sport isn't for the weak.
Green, green, green.
These drivers are a different breed.
The NASCAR Cup Series All-Star Race from North Wilkesboro.
Brad's team.
I am anxious, yes. I'm ready to go. Yeah, I need $1 million. I got some bills to pay.
Yeah, that splits up evenly down there with Jonathan, House, Jeremy.
Everybody but the spotters.
I'm used to it.
I'm not sure if you're the driver and the owner, you want to talk about how much you owe at any given moment while you're out on the racetrack.
Well, it makes you have a better purpose when they put $1 million in front of you.
Okay.
But he's definitely right. The spotters don't need to be paid any of that money. They're paid enough. That's fun to give him grief.
Interesting story about that particular graphic scheme, and we'll tell it to you when he qualifies.
Oh, a little teaser there, Mike.
Well, just a little.
I thought I was going to learn something.
I did too.
Took it from
He's
us.
saving it. Now we don't know what to do. Oh, look at this. Yeah, so 4 o'clock on the left and currently on the right. And you see there's even some rubber marks right up those bottom hashes through turns 3 and 4. And we know that top groove has 2 degrees of banking more. And these guys are all well aware that that banking is up there. And they're starting to feel their way up towards that top lane. They're there in 1 and 2. You see it right here.
This has the weirdest racing line of any short track I've ever been to.
I love it. And a lot of that is just because of the uniqueness of how this track was built, the elevation changes, the flat entry into 1, driving into the hill on the exit, uphill down up the back straightaway, kind of flattens out through the middle of 1 and 2, and then so there's all kinds of weird, funky things going on with the way that this goes uphill, downhill, banking's different, so all kinds of crazy stuff that make it fun.
Which make that line that you run, right, the preferred line, important, but it also makes it challenging. As you go through all those characteristics, you can miss, and when you miss, it's a passing opportunity for the car behind you.
What's the chatter down there, Larry?
Yeah, Mike, it's been well documented. This is the softest tire that Goodyear can make. It's the same tire we ran at Bowman Gray in the Clash and at Martinsville just a few weeks ago. I talked to Rudy Fugel, William Byron's crew chief, and I said, what do you think? He said, when you've got this soft of a tire on into a run, it really exposes handling problems. Right now, with about 15 minutes to go in this practice, most everybody is complaining about tight. The car is not turning, the front wheels are sliding, and Kevin Clint at a short track where it won't turn in the middle, you know what happens next.
Dead in the water. You're in the way, you get moved.
Yeah, and it's such a fine line on new asphalt like this to let the back slide and wait for the front to turn, but you get too far behind, you're in big trouble.
All right, they've had a little fun in the 17 shop along with some trouble in post-race tech last week. See there in the back on the rear quarter panel where they have Band-Aid. Band-Aid's a sponsor. They've taken all of their Bear Bond, that big material that is usually black, to repair body damage. Well, guess what it's going to be this week? It's not going to be Bear Bond.
It's going to be a Band-Aid.
Of course. Put a big Band-Aid on it.
Well, we need a big Band-Aid after this week.
That's activation. Well, now, here's what they have to contend with, though, is a front bumper cover violation. They've been assessed 60 driver and owner points, 5 playoff points, 2 race suspension for the crew chief, Scott Graves, and a $75,000 fine. The team, last I saw, they were still deciding whether or not to appeal, but Graves has begun to serve his suspension anyway, and Doug Randolph is in charge of that team.
Look at that.
Weekend.
You see that left rear tire right there.
How low can you go?
Yeah.
Looks like it needs a Band-Aid.
Looks like it needs a pound of air pressure, looks to me like.
No, we want that baby low, Clint. Low air means more grip.
Did we not learn any?
Oh, we got one up against the wall.
One in the fence. Looks like Nemechek, I believe.
Yeah. Looked like he might have just pushed himself out of the groove. He was right behind Kyle Busch at the moment, backed off, but you see that left rear air in that 8 car.
Well, that lap you just saw of Kyle Busch, that was his fastest lap of the day.
Look at that.
Wow.
Yeah, and as we've been talking week after week, the low air pressure in these tires really exposed here on the short tracks where the speeds aren't quite as high. You still have a lot of bumps right here, but you see that tire actually start to wrinkle up, and that really shows the bumps and things that go along with the racetrack, as rigid as the suspension is. And like we talk, you use that tire as a part of that suspension when you get down close to those limiters or on those limiters, and the tire becomes the crutch.
I can't see doing that for a long run, but since you have 2 sets of tires for practice, you're about to go into qualifying, they must just be experimenting there. Now let's show you what happened to John Hunter Nemechek in the 42. Going to be the green, I believe, green and white car.
I think you're going to see it up at the top of the screen. I think he just got into marbles more than anything.
Too. Yeah, as they keep trying to push this groove higher and higher, there's just that fine line of, and you see how dirty it is up there with all the rubber and everything where they're not running on the racetrack. So as you go through the middle part of the corner, not many people are trying to push the groove any higher right now, so it seems to have leveled out through turns 1 and 2. So it's just going to continue to get dirty up there. So when he tried it, he just got into the crumbs up there.
Chase Elliott just jumped to 2nd on the speed chart. Wonder if they just fired on new tires, because 18:23 is within 4. Looking at the entrance of turn 1 with 10.5 minutes to go, what have you noticed that's changed most about
what happens at the beginning of practice? They were shooting right through here up the racetrack. Now they're starting to, you see them starting to widen that groove out right there, getting into that banking, because the center part of the corner here is starting to move up the track. That allows them to go down the hill on the exit sooner, to get a better run sooner off the corner. And that's really, this is where your pass starts.
They're trying to pick up that banking as quick as you possibly can, because banking is grip. As soon as you get that grip and get the car rotating, you can get back to the throttle.
Yeah, and they're really starting to do the same thing on the other end. They're starting to run up the racetrack on the entry. They've got this end of 1 and 2 burned in pretty good all the way up the racetrack, and now there's marbles up there. But you see, now we're right up to those top hash marks,
the front to turn.
And once somebody's able to get that very top groove clean, and you can start touching that banking in the top of those hash marks, it's going to have 2 degrees more banking up there, and they're going to start to do that on the entry and start to ramp down the exit of turn 4. So it'll be interesting to watch this continue to widen out. And that's what happens when you have a soft tire. It lays rubber on the racetrack, and then you have the fall off. You have the speed at the beginning. We've seen 7/10 to a second of fall off with the 45 car of Tyler Reddick.
And you have a racing surface that's wide that you can move all over for passes.
Justin Allgaier, 24th on the speed chart. His 44th lap was his quickest. That was about 12 laps ago.
It's the only one that somehow looks smaller than Kyle in that race car.
It's interesting to me how far away the steering wheel is, how straight his arms are.
Physical point of rotation is a beat faster than the fastest cars. Dead center of the corner, rolling a little fast. You get it pointed the other way just a beat sooner, and your entry and exit have been close.
Might be a different driver in that car, but that's the same Cliff Daniels we're accustomed to hearing on the radio. And always coaching and always telling him from the box of what he's seeing.
Oh,
loose.
Yeah, and what he's telling him to do is actually slow the car, the roll speed down a little bit so he can get it rotated sooner to make that straightaway longer. That's where the speed is gained, back to the throttle.
Now that voice in Allgaier's ear is Rick Corelli, veteran spotter, and he was a star in the Truck Series. Ooh, somebody was in the wall in turn 2. McDowell? No, Chase Elliott was in the wall in turn number 2 a moment ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's buffed off the right rear.
Yeah, you talk about
got it pretty good too.
Yeah, we talk about that groove over there with all the marbles and everything up the racetrack. Real easy to do. It's very dirty.
Here's a look at it.
Yeah, he's pretty high.
He's high already.
You can see that car just didn't really set.
Yeah.
Not too bad though.
Yeah, not too bad. And a lot of times.
So look at the crumbs. Look at the marbles up there that he's in. Once you're in that is ice.
But that's that flat section of racetrack that we talk about. And what happens right there, sometimes you'll get loose and you can't touch the wheel. You just have to ride the slide. And luckily for him, the wall caught him not too hard.
Look, he put that heat blanket over there. He's going to look at the toe link. Initial inspection.
7 minutes to go in combined all-star and open practice at North Wilkesboro.
Misty?
You know this person?
Is your cat getting too cool? Give him Temptations treats.
Gronkowski,
Yeah?
if you're not going to try anything on, you really need to get out of the fitting room.
5 more minutes.
You serious?
Prize Picks, the easiest way to turn hot takes into cold, hard cash. Like when Drewski said, he cares more about horses than hoops.
I ain't never said that.
Download the app during the playoffs and get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup.
Oh. Hey, did you find the manual?
Yes, of course I found it. No, I need that.
Summon Dale.
Who's Dale?
A real human.
I'm Dale. American Home Show now provides video chat with live repair experts for home fixes over the phone. Let's go fix that oven.
Okay, Dale.
I need my phone back.
Fix it over video chat with American Home Shield. Sign up today at ahs.com.
My name is Dave, and I hate money, which is why I don't like Rocket Money. Rocket Money notified me I could save money by finding and canceling unwanted subscriptions in the app, which is great for people who love money. But that's not me.
There's so much ease with using BetterHelp.
I knew that I wanted to get help immediately. I was going to be able to see a therapist within that same week.
Now I feel so much more confident in expressing myself, and that's been a great gift.
Caution is out at North Wilkesboro as Tyler Reddick has become the first driver to complete more than 100 laps. A.J. Allmendinger rolled slowly down pit road, went past the garage entrance, and stopped. Apparently that car will not fire, so the steps wrecker goes to his aid.
Well, I'm going to say it, Mike, but this is the most entertaining practice session that we have covered all year, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that all the cars are on the racetrack, and I hope everybody's paying attention, because having all the cars on the racetrack really puts and having more time and an extra set of tires allows these guys to explore, move around, and not be so precise on exactly one set of tires and not having any leeway to move around and try things. So this is the best practice I think we've had on TV this week. or this year.
I agree. Here's Christopher Bell. This defines loose.
Yeah, and you saw that on the first lap, and right now he's pretty animated with his hands. Tells me that he's not quite comfortable based on that first lap looseness into 3. Jamie?
Well, Randall Burnett is crew chief for Kyle Busch. You guys been top 10 this practice. So you did multiple stints on the first set, then you put stickers on. What was your takeaway from what you saw?
Well, we were working on the balance the first set of tires there and just really trying to get an idea where we need to be. Kyle fired off. He was fairly happy with the car, but we needed to do a couple things there for him to get the rear attached a little better, and then we put our stickers on, tried to do a little bit longer run to get some idea of that. Yeah.
How low can you go?
Yeah, right. That's the name of the game here, obviously. So, yeah, it's been fun. Got a 50-minute practice session. We actually get to do some stuff. Got an extra set of tires, so makes it way more entertaining, I think.
Yeah, do you try some things that maybe won't stick, but things that maybe for short tracks could help down the line?
Yeah, I mean, having the extra set of tires allows you to do more things, right? Because you can kind of like do what we did like the first set is go out, run a handful of laps, get some feedback, work on it a little bit, go back out, try a couple things, and then put it to where you think you're going to be best and go do a longer run on your second set. So that's kind of what we did, and been having fun practicing today.
Yeah, it's fun. Everybody's smiling down here, Mike. Everybody's having a good time.
Sounds good. All right, here's Kyle Busch's radio talking about what that felt like.
Right rear is hot, off. That bar change that we went back on, that was helping me keep the rear attached exit, but it just lost too much center turn. So now I'm loose leaving. Older we go, like I'm steering as straight as I can and not giving it any wheel and not arcing my entry because I'm gonna bust that.
Well, Kevin, how many times have we done this? You go out, you're tight the first set of tires, and everybody wants to make adjustments. We heard Larry Mack tell all of us, everybody across the board was fighting tight conditions on the first set of tires. Got a lot of rubber built into the racetrack now. Conditions are moving up the racetrack, banking and everything else, not to mention an adjustment, probably air pressure and a wedge adjustment or something like that, shock adjustment. Now we're loose.
Yeah, and you don't want to be loose in here. We mentioned this earlier. You cannot be loose into turn 1. If you are, you're just losing time and momentum. And as this groove moves up on the entry to turn 3, that will be the same problem over there. So you can hear Kyle almost out of breath there as he was talking because it is a heavy workload.
But you only have this last set of tires, right? This is your last opportunity. So I want to find where that line is. Step over it a little bit. All right, let's inch back to it, find a happy medium.
Well, all of the fast laps of the top 9 have been set on the second set of tires, and the fast 5 now includes 4 Toyotas and Chase Elliott's Chevrolet.
Well, I hate the fact that Kyle Larson isn't here to practice because I feel like the groove would be scraping the fence right now through turns 1 and 2.
Mr. Reddick's pretty good at it as well, and I think he's he carried the flag. I think he'll make Kyle proud.
Yeah, Hosefar did a great job as well, pushing that groove up.
Tyler Reddick is fastest, and that came on his 54th of 101 laps.
But I love that we heard backup on what we were saying with that extra set of tires, all the cars on the racetrack together, and having some extra time allows the teams to do more. If you really want to push the needle right here, this is the way that we should practice every week.
But I think it's important to note that we have a very soft tire. We have a track that is, progressive banking. There are a lot of characteristics that play into that favor. There's some of these racetracks I think I've been to, and I don't care if you give them 500 laps around there. We need more adjustments. It's the first time for sure that we've seen this much practice and this much moving. These cars are moving around on the racetrack. A lot of people are trying to figure things out. They've got the drivers in the cars stumped a little bit, if you will, and the crew chiefs on the box. Love it.
You know what else I see? Nerves. These pit crew guys, a bunch of them are doing calisthenics. They're stretching, they're jumping around, but nobody's just kind of standing still. They're, getting muscle memory, practicing their moves, getting ready. This is a very big night for these pit crews, and I think there's a lot of nerves down there.
It takes me back to the old days when we used to have it down in Charlotte, right, in the arena there. And watching those guys put on display their talents was he's ready. He's ready to party. He's ready to change tires. Whatever you need him to do, that guy could do it. He's your guy. There's some low air pressure.
Yeah, I think they're all going to be low. You know, it's just.
How low is too low?
I'm not sure. Until it blows out, who's going to be the first one to try it?
Saw a handful of them try it last week in Kansas. Didn't work out so well.
About one more lap, and that will put paid to practice here. Tyler Reddick is going to win practice over Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Christopher Bell, Eric Jones up in the Fast Five.
Those 2311 cars they mean it. They're here to play. Both cars top 3. Impressive.
That'll do it for an entertaining 45 minutes of practice for All-Star and Open cars. Pit crews at the ready. They're going to be the stars tonight.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs.
then complete the lap. The pit stop determines all-star pit selection. The total of the 3 laps, well, the pole winner starts first in Heat 1 and the all-star race. Now, the Pit Crew Challenge is very much a part of that, and it involves only the distance from one pit box in front of the actual pit stall to the next one. Penalties are huge. 10 seconds for each infraction and 10 seconds for each timing loop where the driver is too fast on pit road.
And Mike, that's where I was talking about. If the driver messes up, these pit crews are still in for the challenge and the money, which is why they're here.
$100,000 to win the Mechanics Wear Pit Crew Challenge.
You can actually, you can bury yourself. I mean, 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. How many penalties you want here?
Well, here's Chad Fincham running his first All-Star Open for Carl Long in the 66. David Pepper, the crew chief.
Green.
It'd be interesting to see what lines that these drivers take on the racetrack.
Yeah, because you have to run a fast lap the first time around, and we know how this goes. We know that as you run on the racetrack, the longer it goes, the faster the cars get, and because of the way that the racetrack cleans up.
All right, 1 lap complete. He'll pit next time by.
Hard to the yellow line, hard to the yellow line, run pit road, speed.
Now that yellow line is way back in turn number 3, so there's a lot of loops to this pit road.
And you see him right against the outside wall there with the way that they set those pit road speeds. And now he's going to go into the first available stall for the challenge.
Here we go. Uh-oh, had a little trouble in the right front.
Let's go. Don't speed, don't speed, don't speed. All the way to the speed line, all the way to the yellow line.
Tricky pit road. You see this little curve at the exit of pit road. You can actually accelerate through these curves if you want to get every last piece of it. Accelerate back up on the racetrack. See him miss a gear right there, getting back up there. So
he stayed down on the apron instead of going immediately up on the racetrack.
And I think it was a big part of his missed shift. I think the car spun the tires as he was shifting there.
And he was speeding through at least one segment, one timing loop on pit road. 5 sections, so that is a 50-second penalty. And that will have him starting in Winston-Salem for the 100-lap Open. Sorry. All right, Cody Ware usually drives the number 51 for his dad's team, Rick Ware Racing. But tonight he is in the 15, and that's Larry Mack on the pit board.
What's that guy doing?
Cody Ware. This will be Cody's 5th All-Star Open, his first since 2022. Previous year, he finished 9th.
My favorite part about Larry holding that pit sign is it's just like everything else that he does. If he's assigned to do it, he's taking it serious.
Absolutely.
Coming back to your white and pit lap.
And you're thinking, why does the spotter need to remind that? Trust me, when you get inside of this race car and you have all the differences going on, and we're programmed like robots to do the same thing every week, and you have some new kink to it, you have to remind the driver.
Well, here he comes. Coming your way, Larry.
All right, down to pit road speed, trying to avoid that 10-second penalty in each segment.
He kind of coughed right there as he came across the line. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see a penalty out of that.
And a lot of times you'll check up if you think you're fast in that section. It's just a segment that from line to line that measures the speed. So sometimes you'll check up more to try to make up for too fast in the first part of it.
All right, he'll come to pit box number 18 as they alternate boxes here.
2.
Crawls in there, and the crew goes to work.
Right on the board, too.
All right, so you're here.
Man, he almost didn't get that left rear on.
You ready? Ready. Hard out, hard out, hard out, hard to checkers.
Yeah, you see him up on the racetrack a lot quicker. It actually ran right next to the pit boxes on exit. I believe that'll be the best way to do that section, so you can run your straight line speed and cut the distance.
One minute 39.791. Now the drivers roll down pit road into position, and they begin at a timing line where a NASCAR official has them stop and then releases them, as they've just done for Shane Van Gisbergen, making his first All-Star Open appearance. All right, this will complete lap 1.
Pitting this time, pitting this time. Second one white. Second one white.
Whoa.
One right here. One white.
Lots of braking right there, sliding the tires into the timing line right there.
Well, those are hard. That's a hard entry. Anytime it's flat like that, you can't get a good depth perception on it.
And he stayed very low on pit road to the inside of pit road, coming around 3 and 4. There's where his pit crew has ranked this season. We'll show you that for all of the full-time cars.
You ready? Go hard. All the way. All the way. All the way to the yellow line, and then we're going to go hard.
Yeah, and you see he stayed right next to that white line. And I think that's just not going all the way out to the wall, Clint, not wasting time, just trying to be efficient with the distance and staying next to the line. And I think that will allow them to use their straight line speed on that last corner, staying next to the line instead of making a bigger arc.
Well, let's see if the stopwatch likes it. Van Gisbergen goes to the top, 128.6.
We're going back to our pit box here. P1 so far. Good job, guys. Yep, good job, fellas.
Cole Custer making his second Open appearance. He finished 7th in the Open in 2022, and twice he's been in the All-Star race.
Yeah, and as I start to look at these guys' rankings, Cole ranks 26th on the pit entries. Pit crew ranks 13th overall. So definitely needs to concentrate based on his stats there, getting onto pit road. Big key to making good lap time here.
And that's how he matches up against the other 35 full-time chartered teams.
White flag pitting this time.
13 best pit crew for a single car team is pretty impressive.
Come on, all the way to the line. It'll be 4 yellow. 4 yellow at the line.
Seemed pretty tame right there, Clint. Same strategy next to the inside line there, just to keep from having to it's just a little bit of distance.
You say conservative. All I can see is 10 seconds in front of me.
Yeah, you're thinking about the penalties.
3, 2, 1 right here.
Oh, trouble on the right rear.
Oh.
All the way.
And that's going to be the case. I mean, and we've talked about it all year. All these stops are right on the edge of being a disaster. And if you don't take every little bit and try to get every little bit, somebody else is going to get it all today and put it all together. A lot of pieces to put together on these qualifying laps, on the pit stops, on the racetrack.
And checkered at the line.
132 moves to second. Let's show you the problem there on the right side. Took a while to get that nut straight. You know, when we went to the center lock wheel and the single lug nut, I know a lot of people thought, okay, pit stops are going to be easier now. It's only one nut. Well, Before, you had a chance of getting 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. But now you got one shot to get it right on each corner, and it's pass or fail.
Yeah, and with all those pins that locate the wheel on the backside and the timing of the jack drop, I mean, we've had more trouble with pit stops because they're faster, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong when you make that pit stop faster.
It's a thing of beauty when they go right. When they go wrong, it's just one little mishap throws everybody off.
Here's Riley Herbst, the rookie, making his first All-Star Open appearance.
Second gear, all green.
Well, you see some smoke right there. Lock the tire up just a little bit.
Now 4 red.
He's staying way wide around 3 and 4.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just it's that distance that you have to come down to get to the pit box right there when you're down against the line. So, I mean, you're splitting hairs, but we'll see how it works out for Riley.
And the importance of stopping right on that sign, because the pit crew members are already in position when you get there. So stopping up right on the sign is critical.
Holding all green. Holding all green. Go hard, go hard. Checker flag, back to pit road.
Second for Herbst, 129.65. Noah Gragson will be next. This will be his third All-Star Open. And the 35 was speeding in one section of pit road.
Well, there's 10 seconds.
That's a lot. This seems like a lot.
So it'll take a while for our pylon to update, but he will move down to, well, we'll just move down one spot for now.
One good hard one, pit on lap 2, coming to the green.
Noah's team and his entry and everything, they're right in the teams right there as far as their ranking across the board.
Yeah. Thanks to Racing Insights for all of our pit stop ranking data, using raw data supplied by NASCAR.
Yeah, you see that on-track lap right there with the 88 of Van Gisbergen. A little bit better through the middle of both corners.
Ready this time, I'll count you to it.
Yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen really rolled to the bottom of the corner well. But I think because of the track and how it widened out, what we saw in practice, a lot of people running different lines. You saw that right there with the ghost car.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot of options. We've seen different options on pit road. We've seen high, we've seen low, we've seen all different sorts of strategies on the racetrack. So really like where we are with the track itself, and we'll see what strategy pays off the most as Noah goes into his pit stall.
Right here.
Good and affirmative, getting into the box, slid to a stop, didn't have to slide it and stop and slide. You want to be consistent with that stop when you come in.
Do you see that right there, Clint? He turned that wheel to the left. You can actually see that left front tire cocked, and that's that extra line on the steering wheel inside the cars. And as the guys go from the right to the left, you'll actually turn that wheel to get it so that it's in the best position to get it off without hitting the fenders or anything.
Well, already the pit stop times are faster than last year's winner. Just shows how things evolve over time here in the Cup Series. Gragson moves to second. 129.59. Pit crews hard at work and in the spotlight for stardom, including our own Larry Mack.
Here they are, McCrispy strips, long, tender, juicy chicken made for
level. Hey, I'll be on the edge of my seat. NASCAR Chicago Street Race, July 5th and 6th.
Currently on the top of the board for the pit stop. Now remember, this is not the stop time, those 10-second stops that we have during the race. It's from the pit box before the stop to the pit box after the stop. So it includes entering and leaving the pit box in that time that you saw. Here's Ty Dillon making his 7th open start. He's finished 8th or better in every one of his previous starts, with the best of 2nd in 2019.
Yeah, you see Ty using that lower line like SVG did there on his qualifying lap, able to maintain a lot better, launches it in the corner, loses all that time.
Let's see if he gains it back on the exit. He ran the outside. Didn't. These colleague cars have been very impressive this year.
Coming to pit road. Eight blue here, 8 blue. Back to 9 green here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on your side.
See him stop way short in that box, Clint. You see that orange tape on the ground, so he missed that mark quite a bit.
What does that do? That throws those pit crew guys off too. That hurts their time. The timing and all that, everything has to be in sync. And when that car stops either deep or short, throws the sync off of everybody.
Now he's 100 RPM less than a lot of drivers have been down the straight section of pit road.
Yeah, and that's going to cost him time. And as we look at his rankings, I mean, he's definitely been, let's see, pit road roll, he ranks about 33rd.
Checker flag, back to pit road there.
3rd at 1:31.44 for Ty Dillon. Eric Jones will be next. He'll be making his 6th start in the Open with the best finish of 2nd in 2018. He's been in the All-Star race 4 times with the best last year and was the fan vote winner in 2022.
You see Eric get right after it off pit road. He was no tire warming, just launch hard and go as hard as you can into turn 3.
Well, I kind of like it, and I like it for 2 reasons. Not only do I want those tires warmed up, I need the brakes warmed up so I can get on the pit road as fast as I possibly can. A lockup will kill your entry speed.
Well, you run a Mountain Dew car at North Wilkesboro. All those Darrell Waltrip and Junior Johnson fans will be cheering for you.
Yeah, you heard him on the rev limiter.
Yes.
Yeah, good first lap. And on the rev limiter, we've heard a couple cars.
Pit road, 2nd, 5 red.
Ooh, he knew he was. Yeah. You saw him kind of veer down to the inside right there with that tire locked up. He knew he was too fast. Trying to get that thing wound down.
All right.
Away.
Ben Bayshore's crew ready to go to work here.
2, 1.
See some trouble on the right rear tire there. Had trouble getting it off.
Short shift.
Yeah, and you're right about that RPM. We see that's 3,700 RPM. It shows you exactly how far off that 10 car was of Ty Dillon. So a couple hundred RPM, that's a big difference on the speed.
Well, especially going back to him, Kevin, I'm glad you brought that up. I mean, I said those colleague cars have been impressive. If there's a weak link with this car, in particular of the 10, we need to get better on pit road, driver and crew.
Jones with that problem on the tire change, 5th at 1:35.5.
Yeah, you saw a lot of sparks flying right here on this right rear tire.
Oh, started
man.
right there.
Tripped.
Yeah, and we talked about that before this whole competition started. The ground being slick. You can see
Oh, right there in the dust.
Caught, yeah.
You can see the dust move. You can see the spot right where his foot hit and got in that dust, and it took his footing right out from under him.
And that camera work right there will lead all these pit crews. See him blowing it off. Everybody's going to learn from that.
Justin Haley making his 5th open start. 2 top 5s in his last 3 starts. 1 all-star race.
Justin has been pretty good. He ranks 12th getting onto pit road, on and off of pit road. So been solid with his braking and his acceleration. Matters tonight. Matters every week, but tonight for the competition and the qualifying run, it really matters. Higher entry there.
Watch how good Shane Van Gisbergen got on the pit road. You see that ghost car? He's beat everybody so far, obviously, and that's been the difference.
Well, we know how good of a road racer he is. So getting onto the under the braking, that doesn't surprise us. We talked about how it was sliding tires and maybe locking up a little bit, but we know about that left foot managing that clutch.
Skiro blew out.
Right side looked pretty good.
Yeah, Haley stopped right on the mark.
A little bit slow with the left front.
First gear all blue. At the line you haul at.
First gear. Everybody else was using second so far.
Yeah, we'll hear how this car accelerates and see if that's any advantage. And that's always the problem with first gear to me, is it's so short, it wants to buzz the tires, and then you have to pull the gear. So it's almost better to leave it in second gear so that you don't have to waste the time shifting and you don't have to worry about the wheel spin.
Well, in the RPM, there's always a difference in the lag. Whoa, hold on to it. There's always a lag in the RPM at different RPMs is what I'm saying. Sometimes that thing bucks and kicks and maybe wants more RPM or less.
Third for Haley, 130.49. Ty Gibbs will be next. It's his 3rd All-Star Open with a worst finish of 2nd. In 2023, he advanced to the All-Star race from the Open each year. In 2024, he led every lap in the Open.
Yeah, and Ty's roll speed he ranks 15th in that, and his pit crew has been spot on this year. 2nd in the best 4 tire stop all over that rev limiter. So that means he got off of turn 4 really good.
Ran high as well.
Now his team won the Pit Crew Challenge 2 years ago, but then that crew moved over to Christopher Bell and won it again last year.
Bump that rev limiter getting into 3 as well, Kevin. Here we go. This is going to be a fast stop.
Coming this time. 3, 2, 1, mark. Second, 2 green, right here.
So the thing that I learned right there is running that high line, coming to your pit road, that distance of being up top matters. It looked like he lost all that difference running the high line through the middle of 1 and 2, and then he was too high getting to the pit road entrance.
No, I don't think his entrance was very good either. It could have been because of the angle.
2nd ranked pit crew out of the 36 full-time teams.
A little bit of a hiccup there on that right front tire. Had to wait just a beat.
Be ready. Here goes. Second, all green.
Ooh, 3,800. I hope that's not too much. It was only for an instant.
A lot of trouble with wheel spin right there. Had to manage the throttle.
Check the flag here.
4th, 130.91. Let's show you that right front issue here.
Didn't come off.
The nut wasn't.
I don't think
it got hung up there. Something happened.
I think the nut was off, but the wheel was.
Yeah, just
may not have had the wheel indexed.
Just couldn't get that right front tire off cleanly.
AJ Allmendinger in his 12th All-Star Open, one of 8 drivers with multiple Open wins, 2008 and 2018.
Yeah, and as I look at these stats, they're very similar to the Ty Dillon car when you look at the roll speed and pit crew rank 27, 27, 26. So definitely a little room for improvement on that side of things.
this time.
I feel like eventually somebody's going to pay attention to the line that Shane ran on his qualifying lap.
Well, see right there, that lower, 1 lane lower. But the braking is really where he makes it up. 1 lane lower through the corner. He was higher down the straightaway. You're right. You can say it. It's okay.
Well, I was with you. I thought he did have a lower entry, but and by the way, this is a good road racer too.
Yeah.
Very good braking. Don't forget that.
Good point. A lot of trouble. Right rear tire guys.
I got to go back.
Way out, A blue.
Well, we see that each and every week with these pit crews. About every stop with somebody. That wheel gets hung up or doesn't align right with the pins behind it, and it will not go on.
See that car sliding around a lot right there up the racetrack.
Tenth for Allmendinger.
I am very impressed with Gisbergen and his team holding on this strong as early as they went out. I mean, we document this every week, Kevin, in qualifying. The track cleans up and it goes faster. I mean, I know he did a good job coming on the pit road. Pit crew did their job, but that lap was good too.
It was, and you see that on the tracker when we're tracking it. I mean, the timed lap and the speed of the car was solid, like you're saying.
Todd Gilliland for front row, making his 4th All-Star Open start. Has a best finish of 8th in the Open in 2022. This car had a lot of speed in practice. And Allmendinger drove through too many pit boxes on exit. Another 10 seconds added will not change his position.
I was going to say there was so much wrong at that point it didn't even matter.
Bad to worse. Or worse to worser.
Look at that, Clint. 2 car lengths right there. Just in the braking zone itself.
3, 2, 1, now. Back to 1 red and 3, 2, 1, now. 10 away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 here.
You're allowed to drive through what, three pit boxes,
3 pit boxes,
entering or leaving, and that's just, that rule is in there for safety. No reason to go any further.
That keeps you from just parking.
Whoa, the nuts off.
Yeah,
sure is.
Left your tires off.
That rule keeps you from parking on the concrete too. Have the advantage of that.
Okay, and I believe the car was out of the box when they reattached it, so that's likely to be a penalty on top of the time lost.
Russian roulette, boys.
So I like this angle right here.
That's why we left it.
Well, here's the problem. So Gilliland 142.8 without the penalty. And he's also on a rev limiter a lot going into turn 1.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to be the normal. And a lot of times when they figure these speeds, maybe the speeds are a little bit higher than what NASCAR anticipated with the gear ratio, but definitely.
To follow up, Todd Gilliland had a penalty, as we noticed, for pitting outside the box, reattaching that lug nut, and then a speeding penalty in one section added to it.
Look at that.
Nice.
Zane had a great lap and gave it all
Staying
up.
Low.
Yep. All right, no penalties.
All right.
Let's have a
Ryan
clean
Bergetti.
stop.
Yep. And team, here we go.
1 here. Second all green, bumping 1.
A little bit of a hang up there on the left rear, just a little bit, but no major catastrophes.
How about how he locked those tires up leaving the box and didn't just blow the tires off by spinning or anything, just, you know, it's perfect. Perfect RPM match, drop of the clutch. That's hard to do.
Well, sure. Wheel
a little
spin,
bit too much.
Wheel spin is time lost.
That's right. And then the other, you kill it. Not enough RPM, and you dump the clutch, and it'll stall.
Very nice. Third place, 130.47.
Yeah.
Good
Smooth
run.
stop, smooth all around. I think it's really easy to overthink this and psych yourself out of these, you know, big moment situations like this.
Oh, for sure.
I have.
I mean, how many times? I can think back to several times where you just overthink everything that's happening, and a lot of times there's just so much different happening. You have to think about it, and then you inevitably
coming
screw
on the
something
pit road,
up.
wide open.
I never liked that.
Oh, overthought that every time.
Yeah.
I always thought I got him, and then I didn't.
When there was no speed limit and you would blow through that pit box
2 or 3
20 miles an hour too far and go 5 boxes past them.
I'll be back here in a second, guys.
There was nothing worse than having to put that thing in reverse and back up to them.
Michael
Green flag,
McDowell
full lap.
making his 9th appearance in the All-Star Open.
This would be a good lap. They have unloaded fast race cars each and every week as we go through practice sessions. Qualifying has been good for them. But look how, again, Van Gisbergen wrapped that bottom in 3 and 4 and is really, when he, at the start-finish line with his exit of 4, is at least a car length ahead of him. Smoke team coming on to pit road.
We'll back down to all green, 1 red in 3, 2, 1 now.
Yep, you got to back the pit road speed down when it goes
5,
back straight.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Now, he was about a foot short. You saw the right front tire changer had to adjust his position and move 6 inches a foot to the left, and all that takes time.
It takes a little bit of time, but they didn't have any massive mistakes. Had a pretty good pit stop. I didn't see any of the tires have any trouble getting hung or anything, so.
Uh-oh.
They have the fastest stop at 12:58.
How about you?
Look at that, Clint. That's the first time I've noticed how good the launch was for SVG. He was really low on the racetrack, but his acceleration was really good compared to McDowell right there.
Yeah, I'm loving this ghost car all the way around. It's really showcasing how well Gisbergen did in certain areas of the track, because this pit stop was certainly faster with McDowell.
So McDowell goes to third at 129.61. See how the front changer had to lean over, move just a little bit. However, they are the fastest pit crew so far.
As long as they can just move their hands, I think they're okay. When they have to completely readjust with their knees and their feet, they're in big trouble. He knew it. Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, and that just shows you the grit and determination and how much it means to these pit stop guys. When they put it all together right there, they were just like, yeah, we nailed it.
Well, here's his Spire Motorsports teammate Carson Hocevar. This will be Carson's second All-Star Open. He started and finished 10th last year.
Yeah, you see Carson paid attention to what SVG did through 3 and 4, running that low line.
And it beat him just a tick.
3 red when you get there. 3 red.
Not bad.
Nope.
All right, pit crew, let's see what you got.
Showing your all greens if you're going to cut like that. All green. All green. 3 boxes in and out. Wheel straight. 4, 3, 2, 1. Right here.
Little easy getting into the box.
Easy and a little bit short as well. Crew looked good on the right side.
Clear, go.
Solid stop.
Puts his crew third quickest overall so far, so we'll see how Carson can finish this lap. We talked about the acceleration off of pit lane right here. See that 88 car just hang a left.
Stayed a little lower, didn't he?
Yeah, he hangs a left and stays lower, and that's gained him like 5 car lengths on a bunch of people so far. See Carson fire that thing off into turn 3, though.
Second for Hocevar, 128.88. And third in the Pit Crew Challenge. Crowd filling in the grandstand here to enjoy All-Star qualifying, and then the Cars Tour Pro Late Model race that is coming up later tonight. You will see it too right here on FS1.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun night. It's actually the late model stock race tonight. We had the pro late model race
last night.
And the only reason I say that is all the people around here, they know exactly what those late model stock cars are, and that's why there's a bunch of people to show up and watch qualifying and those late model stocks run tonight on FS1.
John Hunter Nemechek making his third All-Star Open. Best finish of 8th in 2020. Has a couple of back-to-back top 10 finishes heading into All-Star weekend.
Yeah, good first lap right here on the racetrack.
Stayed low.
Second gear, 5 red.
Man, it really showcases his talent coming on pit road. Almost each and every one of these guys.
So those numbers and colors that the spotter's calling out is the lights on the dash.
That's right. Yeah, you'll have every driver's a little bit different, but they're calling out the pit road RPM and however that driver has it set with their lights.
2, 1, hit your done.
Oh. Trouble getting in the right front off.
You ready? Go, 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 go. 5 red, 5 red.
And I know we've been down this path a long time, but if we have a new viewer, the reason we use lights versus the number, what you normally see on a tachometer, is the filter system. It just refines that filter down even more fine than what a tachometer can do to get every last ounce out of your pit road times.
Yeah, because let's just say it's 35 miles an hour. NASCAR gives you 5 miles an hour, so it makes it 40, and you want to run 39.9. So
999.
That's right.
Nemechek is 7th. His pit crew is in 10th position right now after this. Difficulty. That tire get hung on the fender. There was a little fender damage from the outside, but
part of me thinks it might be the fender, and part of me thinks it isn't exactly all the way up either.
Okay.
It may have been a combination of both. But that right front damage probably didn't hurt it or help it any.
2 drivers to go. Here is Ryan Preece in his 5th All-Star Open. He's finished 4th and 8th in the 2 Opens at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, and you can really tell the guys that get a good run off of turn 4, because if they don't hit the rev limiter, they haven't got their car up to speed and got a good exit off of turn 4 to the green flag. So you see Ryan right here got a good car and a half, 2 car lengths on Shane.
Wednesday night, Ryan was racing his modified up at the Monaco Tri-Track Series event at Thompson, Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
That is amazing.
Massive difference between the braking right there.
Well, it shows you all these guys, especially these guys that are going out later, had the benefit of watching some of these guys run on the racetrack. They've learned the mistake there, but that back one, the entry to pit road, that is a hard one to overcome. You can tell yourself and get yourself pumped up, ready to do that. But saying is one thing, doing is the other.
See the pit crew do a good job, a good clean stop, and you go back to that braking, Clint. I mean, that's just, we know as Priest goes 4th quick there with his pit crew. We know that SVG is just really, really good at the braking, and what we have right here really showcases the talent that he has to be able to do that on the brakes.
Another separation there on the launch off of pit road. Shane pulled away from him as well.
Yeah, between the braking and the launch, that's really where most of the time has been gained over the competitors.
So Priest is 5th, pit crew was 4th. There's Shane Van Gisbergen. He is fastest so far. His pit crew 5th quickest. 1 driver to go, and it is Bubba Wallace making his 6th open start. Twice he has advanced to the All-Star race from the open.
He's 3rd in practice. A lot of speed out of this race car just a little bit ago.
Well, he was 3rd in practice, but he's got the best pit crew on pit road.
There you go. He's going to have to do his job, though. I don't know if the pit crew is going to bail him out of a deficit coming on and off of pit road.
Well, if they can't, they still just want to put themselves on the top of that challenge leaderboard right there to try to take that money. That's right.
The driver can't take this one away from us.
Pitting this time. Get your bias where you need it,
Sure has a good lap going.
When he's talking about that bias, he's talking about the brake balance. Driver has the availability to adjust that brake balance inside the car.
Whoa. Whoa. Definitely outran Shane. Did he get too much, Kev?
Sure looked like it.
3, 2, 1, all green, 10 away, 2nd gear. 5.
Here's the #1 pit crew in the business going to work right here.
Wheel right, 2nd gear.
And again, just about 6 inches of a miss there on the stop position compared to where the right front changer was situated.
Having a little trouble.
Chicago, 2nd gear, green line.
I think they had trouble on the left side coming around. They were a little slow. I saw the left front guy had to reset his gun, switch directions with it kind of late.
Pit crew was 12th.
Not what they were hoping for. A lot of pressure on those guys.
A lot of pressure.
When you come in ranked #1, especially the last car going out, for all the marbles.
Wallace finishes up 6th on the clock. So Shane Van Gisbergen, top of the board among the open cars.
Oh, that's why.
Hung the hose, and he was speeding coming in, so that'll be a 10-second penalty.
Oh, man. That's just an unfortunate situation for the crew right there, but we definitely thought he was speeding. He gave it all that he had. They know they got to get everything that they can, and maybe a little bit more under that braking zone.
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Que quiere trabajar en un banco. Tengo bonitos recuerdos en los bancos. Robó 3 veces. ¿Fue este banco?
on Saturday with Truck Series racing at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1 and All-Star Heat races at 5 p.m. Eastern on FS2.
Welcome back to the Mechanics Wear Pit Crew Challenge and All-Star Qualifying from North Wilkesboro, where Shane Van Gisbergen's pole speed for the Open is 1.1 seconds faster than Joey Logano's pole for the All-Star race last year, Larry.
Yeah, Shane Van Gisbergen, you had to go out early, you had to wait a while, but a total team effort, but you really got the job done on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think we finally got all things right. Qualifying's been a weakness. My lap was pretty good, and then, yeah, coming in was good. Pit stop guys were insane, so really good for them. And, yeah, thanks to WeatherTech, thanks to the Trackhouse pit crew, and we're up front tomorrow. I've never started at the front for an oval, so I don't know what to do there. I'll have to learn the rules and see how we go.
Mike asked him if he had ever seen North Wilkesboro. He said, yeah, for the first time about 3 hours ago.
Okay. All right, so who will start alongside, and where will your favorite lineup for the Open? We will show you the starting lineup when we come back and get ready for All-Star Qualifying and update the Pit Crew Challenge. For the All-Star Open, Shane Van Gisbergen, Carson Hocevar, pair of Chevrolets in row 1, a Ford and a Chevy, Gregson Goodall, row 2, Preece and Smith, Haley Nemechek, Gibbs Dillon, the top 10.
Ty Gibbs, you know that car is going to be fast, got some work to do. But Shane Van Gisbergen, unbelievable job. It all came from getting on the pit road, Kevin.
Yes, it did. And even the on-pit road, but I thought his launch off of pit road being a little bit lower. I'm sure that all these guys that are getting ready to qualify for this stuff in the All-Star race are going to go through all the things that SVG did well.
Sure. If you don't need all that track, why take the long way around? All right, pit crews at the ready as we move to All-Star qualifying and continue the Pit Crew Challenge.
This is the greatest spectacle in racing.
We are green.
The Indianapolis 500.
Difference between winning and losing, and this is William Byron's guys getting the job done. Landon Walker is the gas man. Landon, how important and how much fun is this night for all these teams?
Yeah, anytime you come to North Wilkesboro, a historic track, and be able to showcase our abilities. You know, we work all week, practicing, training for this night, so it's really cool all year long. This is a good opportunity for us to get out here and show what skills we have and be the best in the garage, and I think, you know, we take a lot of pride in that. It's a bragging right, especially after this stop. Obviously, there's some money involved, so that always, you know, sweetens the pot a little bit, but it's a great opportunity. Really just awesome to compete with these guys. You know, I love this team and just love being a part of this team, and tonight we're going to hopefully be able to show our abilities.
And this is your hometown. Ryan, real quick, he burned his hands last week. Mike stuck his hands in the ice. How you feeling, Ryan?
The blisters are healed up, just got one left, but we're ready to roll tonight.
You guys are tough. All right, want to do this? All right, grid on 3. 1, 2, 3, grid!
Thanks, Jamie. All right, All-Star qualifying is next, and we continue the Pit Crew Challenge.
Fox UFL Friday lights up prime time. Let's go! As the Memphis Showboats
20 cars already qualified for the All-Star race. They'll be joined by 3 from the Open. First 2 finishers and the fan vote, which goes on until midnight tomorrow night. Vote for your favorite. And they will qualify in inverse order of point standings. Now, this is the Rick Ware Racing 51, usually driven by Cody Ware. But remember, the All-Star race is all about the drivers, and Harrison Burton is eligible for the All-Star race because he won last year. This is his first All-Star appearance. He won Daytona last year, best finish of 11th in 3 open starts.
That was a big win for him, and the Burton family. To watch that win was a lot of fun. Wood brothers.
Got his longtime partner, Morton Buildings, on the side of the car. They've done so much to support Harrison throughout the years, and to see him on track here at the All-Star race is neat to be able to fitting to celebrate that win last year.
His RPM did not pick up as he rolled the corner through 3 and 4. It does there at the exit of turn number 4. Now in a straightaway, it should drop back down about 3,700 and into the box. Didn't hit the sign. A little costly there as the crew had to adjust.
Yeah, just a lot of differences as he's going from his Xfinity car back to this Cup car, and especially now that pit box is clean, it's got some rubber on it. See that RPM? We've seen 3,700 kind of be the RPM of choice. You see that car dance around as he gets up on the racetrack. Big transition from that flat apron to the banking.
The pit crew 15th of the 19 so far. Minute 34.4 is his qualifying time. Now the pit crew challenge continues. All of the open cars against all of the all-star pit crews. Michael McDowell's team currently leading. Travis Peterson's crew with a time of 12.58, including the entry box and exit box from their pit stall. $100,000 to the fastest pit crew when this is all over. So here is Justin Allgaier for Kyle Larson to give the number 5 pit crew a chance at this pit crew challenge. The High Plains veteran spotter, the High Plains Drifter.
High Plains Drifter.
Because Larson's regular spotter, Tyler Munn, is with him at Indianapolis for the 500 and will fly back with him to work Sunday night in the All-Star race.
Now watch this. What an athlete. All right, got the car up, it's not high. Oh, he let it down, had to reset it. I don't think it was in far enough, but the fact that he just did that one-armed, stay out of that guy's way.
You better
do not make him mad.
You better stay in the gym.
For the rest of your life.
134.9 for Allgaier.
Yes, sir.
So here is Brad Keselowski in his 17th All-Star appearance.
Had a really good car last weekend. Unfortunately, did not make it to the end. Right rear flat ended his day.
Yeah, you see Brad sail that car into turn 1 compared to the 51 of Burton. Brad has been, he ranked second getting on and off of pit road, so we expect Brad to be pretty good getting onto the pit entry.
And his pit crew has really picked it up as well.
Now, during practice, you asked about the colors on this car. Prior to his passing, the owner of sponsor Solomon Plumbing, Danny Allor II, made the decision to run the East Carolina U colors on this car for the All-Star race. So this is the pirate ship honoring ECU.
Well, that worries me right there. He got onto pit road with the right rear tire smoking, Clint, and it'll be interesting to see what that pit road speed was coming onto pit road.
See the right rear locked up there as well. I heard some of these pit crew chiefs telling their driver to adjust their bias.
Brad stalled it.
Had to double clutch it to keep it from stalling. That'll hurt it a little bit. Pit crew was on it.
Brad.
Checker 5.
Top of the board, 127.36.
That's the fastest we've seen.
Yes, it is. Just need to know what that, if we don't, hopefully we don't hear anything about a penalty, but he was on the pit road really well. So we know that SVG earlier, that's where he was able to get on the pit road and make up all the time. So Brad did a great job right there.
Their pit crew did a great job too.
Daniel Suarez for Team Trackhouse, making his 6th All-Star appearance. Qualified with a win at Atlanta a year ago, February. Won the pole for the All-Star race in 2023 with a Heat 1 victory.
Well, we didn't hear any rev limiter out of that 99 car getting into turn 1, so that's kind of been my reference as to, you know, how that lap is going. None again right there. So
on either end, yeah.
3, 2, 1, here. All red there, all red.
And that's that flat. You see, like we're talking about, Clint, like you mentioned earlier, they got all the way to the left and then veered back to the right. But you getting on that flat sooner seems to be able to let that car settle and use the brakes a little bit better.
3, 2, 1. Here. Now cut it from here, all red.
And Daniel's done a great job, as you saw in that graphic, of getting on and off of pit road. He's ranked P1 in that category. So
stayed in first gear, it seemed, a lot longer than most drivers.
Yeah, look at that launch right there too. Got off of pit road really well.
Checker flag now. Back to your line. That's top of the board.
126.9.
Business is picking up.
And his team missed moving Michael McDowell out of the $100,000 by 13 one-thousandths of a second. However, the speeding police got him entering and exiting. So that's 2 10-second penalties.
Dang it.
Well, you got to go for it. You got to put it all out there on the line.
Number 1 in y'all's heart. He won, baby.
That is Michael McDowell's crew, led by Travis Peterson. And they are atop the board for the $100,000. By the way, you know what second place pays in the Pit Crew Challenge.
Good job.
Congratulations. Have a nice race.
Thanks for being here.
Exactly.
See you tomorrow.
Well, here is Chris Buescher in his 5th All-Star appearance.
Are you sure? I see that chrome 17 on the side of that car, and I see DW, Darryl Walton.
Clint, this is your car, though. You got Tylenol on there, Band-Aid.
Chris qualified with his win at Watkins Glen last year, finished an All-Star best 3rd 1 year ago.
Everything you need. Grocery, hangover cure, and fix the wounds.
Imagine advertising hangover cures and Band-Aids at a racetrack. Right? What could
Right
go
place
wrong?
to do it.
Yep.
This time.
Great exit.
Yes, sir.
Off at turn 4, all the way into turn 1.
Two red in 15, 10, 5, now in 3, 2, 1, here.
Did a good job coming on to pit road. Now remember, that 99 car got nabbed for speeding right there.
So Doug Randolph is the crew chief. Scott Graves serving the first of a 2-week suspension. They still have to determine, will they appeal what happened in inspection at the R&D center after last week's race.
Go, go.
3,600 all the way down the straight. Again, about 100 RPM off.
There we go. Flashed a little bit of 37 right there.
His pit crew was 8th fastest. And Buescher finishes up 2nd at a 1:28.27.
RFK.
1-2.
1-2, 1 second apart.
Oh. You know, I thought that RPM looked a little high coming onto pit road, and it was. He was speeding in the first segment.
Remember, we're going to change it there, but that ghost car that we were using as the gauge, he got caught speeding, and I knew when he was as matched or even better than him a little bit, chances are that wasn't going to be good.
That's why we left it up there, Clint, because we thought,
well, it's a good gauge one way or another.
It wound up being a good gauge.
However you use it is on you.
Yeah.
All right, Austin Dillon is in his 5th All-Star race. Remember, he got that win at Richmond last year. NASCAR penalized him for how he got it, and that took him out of the playoffs. However, the win does retain his All-Star eligibility. So here he is.
Finally paying him back.
that thing left big time too far right there. But that
now, I like what he did there. He dropped his RPM way down to about 2,900 RPM to try to average it out through that first segment. He knew he was fast coming in, so he dropped it down low so he wouldn't get nabbed.
Well, we're trying to average it out, but
we'll see if his argument works with the police.
Yeah, it usually doesn't work.
All right, Boyer for the defense.
Well, that's basically spot on, too. It's about like telling the cop when he pulls you over.
Well, that was a good pit stop. The pit crew did its part.
It's just by a little bit.
They are 8th on the board at a 13:26 for the stop.
Nice and clean. And the one thing I was going to say, when he was coming off of turn 2, he jerked the car so hard off the wall, it actually left a skid mark. You can see it right there. He just went over it. That's his tire mark when he turned that car aggressively down the racetrack.
And when that right front locked up, it really threw the car to the left, too, when those front tires locked up. All that transition makes it difficult to regain your composure and your speed. We'll see if the police...
3rd for the 3 car of Austin Dillon. Yep.
He liked it. A-okay.
Gentlemen, speeding penalties? Yes, no? No? Haven't heard a word.
It's in court right now.
I believe it worked.
That's the best music to ears you ever heard. When you look over,
You're
you see
sitting
those
there waiting.
lights red, and you're like, oh no. You get done with your pit, and you're out there, you're running around, and you're waiting. You don't want to ask, because then you're guilty, right?
Right.
You're like, oh. Then he'll chime in, take your lap time, and like, whoo.
And like you said, Mike, he checked up in that section to try to make that average right, and that's what you hope as a driver, and that's why you get quiet, like Clint said. You're okay. Did I do enough? I know I was fast, but I checked up.
It's the longest couple laps of your life on a racetrack.
He was okay. No penalty. Here is Kyle Busch, his teammate at Richard Childress Racing. This is Kyle's 20th consecutive All-Star race. And he qualifies with an All-Star victory in 2017. He's had 4 All-Star poles, second all-time to Bill Elliott.
Well, Kyle's done a good job all year on his pit road speed rolling average. So
Going to all blue in 3.
Did the same thing as his teammate. Dropped it down from 4,000 down to about 3,200 to average that first section.
yeah, to me it looked like he was a little bit conservative getting to pit road compared to some of them, but we've been watching the ones going too fast.
Soft leave, all red.
16th for the crew out of 25 so far.
Yeah, and that's about right in line. That's about right in line with their best 4-tire stop average. So they rank 17th in that category. So that's pretty much right on par with what they've been doing all year.
Third for Kyle Busch, 131.22. We'll take a break with Brad Keselowski's number 6 team at the top of the board.
It's Saturday night. You could go out, make some memories.
after 7 drivers have qualified. Michael McDowell's crew, led by Travis Peterson, still top the Pit Crew Challenge. $100,000 to win. And here is Josh Berry in his second All-Star race, qualified with the win at Las Vegas, won the Open in 2023, substituting for Alex Bowman.
Seen a lot of speed out of this car all year. They've done a great job, put themselves in victory lane. And we know Josh Berry as a short track racer, and he's, as we go into tonight with the Cars Tour race following qualifying here, this has been one of our stars, straight out of the Cars Tour, up through the ranks, and now winning on Sunday. So fun to watch him be able to participate in this All-Star race.
Josh Berry makes his way down pit road to Steve Post.
All right, the Wood Brothers crew ready to go to work under Miles Stanley.
10 away. When it straightens out, go back to 1 red. Now.
Yeah, they were a little slow to get the jack up there, put them 18th quick on the pit crew side of things.
You heard spotter Jason Jarrett of another famous racing family in North Carolina.
Check that car dancing around.
Took it all, didn't he?
4th fastest. That's quite a pickup. 18th for the pit crew, 4th overall. All right, Ricky Stenhouse will be next, making his 7th All-Star appearance. His win at Talladega last fall qualified him to be in the big dance Sunday night here.
These guys have done a great job. Haven't had the performance of the car where they want it every week, but they're finishing races. They're putting themselves in a position to run all the laps, and have made a decent year out of what we've run so far.
It surprised me. I think he surprised a lot of people. Fantastic season so far. If they make them playoffs, that would be above expectation for sure. And that's not taking anything away from him. That just tells you how hard this is. Big bump down there when he ran low on the racetrack.
At your green now.
Yeah, and you forget about that bump. They actually took a piece of the wall away and just ground it down to be level with the asphalt. But there's a massive bump right there if you get too low on the racetrack.
Five away. 4, 3, 2, 1.
All the markings on that right front for the carrier where he has his hand placement.
Go, 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 go.
Running your green.
The amount of detail that goes into just the driver's steering wheel placement, the tire carrier, how he has to time that wheel to get it on those dowels, just all the things that are going on with the pit road speeds and the lights and the spotter, when to pit, not to pit, don't stop too short, don't slide the brake. I mean, there's just so many things that go through the routine of making a pit stop and all the things that they're doing tonight.
Well, it's done every week because it's so important.
The pit crew was 12th. Stenhouse qualifies 4th right now. Here's that bump you're talking about.
Right there, you can see.
Yeah, it just bottoms out on the splitter, and then it just starts bouncing as it starts to rebound and bounce off the ground with that momentum after it hits it the first time.
You can definitely see that spot where that wall was removed that you were talking about.
Austin Cindric for Team Penske, making his 3rd All-Star appearance. His win at Gateway last year and Talladega this year.
Yeah, the reason that they took that wall out in turn 1, the way that this racetrack was when it was the old racetrack, you'd want to cut right to the end of that wall. So when they came here and tested, that wall actually stuck out a little further than the drivers wanted, and so they took it away. Now nobody even runs down there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to pit this time.
Penske cars were all pretty impressive in practice. Obviously, Logano win last year gives a lot of hope for the Penske clan coming into this. Big weekend for Roger. Even bigger next weekend.
You see Austin in first gear, so we got a little bit different gear selection right here with this 2 car as he runs down pit road to his pit stall. So we'll see how this works out.
7 green. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Nice work by the crew.
Yes,
Fourth
it is.
fastest, 1288.
Still in first gear, so watch this launch and the wheel spin. Short shifted it.
I think that's time.
Well, it's just that bump to get it going, and he did a good job of
too fast entering.
Not going to matter.
But that launch is still something to pay attention to, Clint. Just that little burst of speed and short shifting it into second gear. So
second fastest before the penalty. And the 71 crew still on top for that 100 grand. Chase Briscoe makes his third All-Star appearance. He won Darlington last summer to qualify. Finished 4th in the All-Star race here in 2023.
Yeah, and you make a good point right there, Clint. Is that first gear and that short shift and not spinning the tires, is it worth the time? Is it better to just leave it in second like we talked earlier and just, you can still spin the tires in second gear like you're saying, but is it better to just not waste the time with that first gear?
Well, I think it comes down to the comfort rolling time. You know, you have to go back to what RPM that driver's most comfortable getting the max amount of rolling time. But obviously for him, it's not going to matter.
And I never liked to have that high RPM on pit road. I always felt like it surged more than I liked it to. See Chase really aggressive under banking. That back of that car dancing all over the place.
But he kept it underneath of him. Didn't lock a wheel up. It was good brake modulation out of him.
Now, we may not have his radio, but I never heard his spotter in that whole run.
Green, 4,
there he is.
3, 2,
with ask and you shall receive.
A little bit short in the pit stall right there. You see those guys have to scoot just a touch.
Second 9 green, second 9 green.
Fourth in the pit crew challenge, 1269. Just 11/100ths off the top time.
Hard on the way to turn 1 here.
Yeah, and he used first gear off of pit road and just let it go full RPM before he shifted to second gear, maxed it out.
Checker flag.
Second for Briscoe. Fourth on pit road and second overall. Well done. Ross Chastain will be next. Ross making his 5th All-Star appearance. Won Kansas last fall. Finished 7th in the All-Star race last year.
Said it earlier, Kevin, and I've noticed it right here. Look how low his window tint is. All the way around, right side, the windshield.
Yeah, and you see that car dancing all around. A lot of that windshield tint is driver preference as you see the back of that Busch Light car slide up off of the corner. A little bit different paint scheme on that Busch Light Chevy this week. Got a little orange on the hood.
Right down on the bottom of the racetrack in 3 and 4. I think we've all learned from Shane Van Gisbergen in that open practice. That's the fastest way around here.
Hitting this time.
That car is loose.
That's Brandon McReynolds, his spotter.
Line now. Away. 1 red now. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Remember your wheel.
Like how he slid into that box, got a good angle for the guys. Nice and close to the wall, but not too far, not too close. Ooh, that left front.
1 red.
Looked pretty close.
Halfway through the stop, he cut the wheel to the left to make it easier to get that left front tire off.
Definitely not the stop they were looking for.
those numbers on the tach looked a little high going down pit road. But
yeah, and he was up a little bit compared to a lot of the guys that have been lower. So we'll see if that extra RPM equates to a penalty at the end, or if that extra distance kept it from being in that zone.
The pit crew is 12th. Chastain's overall time is 3rd, 1:28.88.
Nice work, fellas.
And yes, speeding on exit.
Yeah, you nailed that one, Mike.
Joey Logano, defending series champ, defending winner of the All-Star race, making his 15th All-Star appearance.
So what you're saying is he does pretty good.
He does good under these pressure situations
Absolutely.
too. This whole team, you put pressure on them, and they respond.
And you see all those marks on his steering wheel. Those are all the different spots. The orange mark, it comes on the steering wheel stock, so you know when it's straight. The white and the yellow, that's from side to side, where that needs to be straight up and down so that the tire comes on and off for that carrier as easy as possible.
I'm glad you said that, but look how far of a difference that is. The orange is straight up.
Well, pay attention right here. When they go from right to left, you'll actually see the wheels physically move a fair amount of distance as Joey gets on to pit road pretty well.
Going 3 reds now. All your reds now.
That looked really good.
Spotter Coleman Presley.
Turn in 3, 2, 1, and hold.
Slow in the left rear.
Yeah, definitely some trouble back there on that left rear. So lost some time on the pit crew side of it.
18th for the pit crew.
I will say he was
now
pretty easy coming into the box. I don't know if that got them off of their marks or not, but it's definitely something that I noticed versus the competition we've seen so far.
Last year's pole winner for the All-Star race.
Checkered flag.
3rd for Logano, 1:29.25.
I think he did a great job coming on to pit road.
And let's watch the rear here.
And you can see the rubber dust there out from underneath the feet of the changer. Watch the dust come out of his foot. Right there.
I think those guys aren't athletes. Look what those ankles are going through.
And that's why you wear the knee pads right there.
And that was an unbelievable adjustment that he made right there.
Yes.
I mean, absolutely incredible how he went right back to the wheel, and it almost as if it didn't even happen. But that's how close these times are.
Alex Bowman for Hendrick Motorsports, making his 6th All-Star appearance, his first since 2022. Won at Chicago last year.
These pit crew guys are saying, you take care of you, we're going to take care of us. And oh no, big right front lockup.
Ready, go.
He might be okay. He dropped it all the way down to 2,900, trying to get the right average in that first segment.
And he's against the wall. He hit the wall.
Stop.
Kevin Hamlin, the spotter.
2, 1, underside. Go. How you leaving? All yellow, all yellow.
5th fastest pit stop of the night. 12:81.
That puts it right in line with 6 average of what we have him as.
Guard.
For a pit crew.
Yeah, and we see Alex has been 31 on his averages, 31 on his rolling speed, so definitely can make a difference in one way or another. And we saw getting to pit road and locking the tire up and being right against the wall, so there were definitely some errors right there.
Bowman ends up 2nd, 1:28.36. Keselowski and Bowman fastest so far. McDowell's team leads the pit crew challenge. Michael McDowell's pit crew came in here ranked 32nd, and they are the leaders with a shot to win $100,000 tonight.
Well, we know that this one right here, Denny Hamlin does a great job on pit road, off of pit road, and he has a pit crew that can get it done, and they're used to performing under intense situations. Hear him up on the rev limiter right there off of lock the right rear tire up just slightly, got it all.
Your spotter Chris Lambert.
3 red now.
New to Hamlin crew chief Chris Gale this year.
Stayed low on pit road.
And his crew ready to go. Oh, big lockup coming in.
Yeah.
Pretty early in the box, too. Those guys definitely had to adjust for that, but they're fast. These guys are used to this. A lot of experience here.
All the way out, all the way out. All green, all green. 1 red to finish, 1 red.
The pit crew was 22nd.
There's DJJ back to the line.
You definitely can't go as aggressively up on the racetrack as what Denny did right there and jerks the car around. You got to progressively just feed that car up onto the banking low. We've seen that from when SVG went earlier. A lot of guys have done that well. Easy to get that car bucking around.
Hamlin is 6th with a 129.9. Tyler Reddick, who ran 101 laps in practice, including the fastest lap of the day, makes his 4th All-Star appearance.
And Tyler, his car looked really good in race trim. He and Carson Hocevar were really the ones pushing that groove around up the racetrack. But felt good about the speed. It looked good on our scoring monitors.
And he is not scared to push the limits. Where's he ranked as far as his duties on pit road? It's 6th.
Yep.
Yeah, 9th. His pit crew's 9th. This could be pretty sporty here. He's gonna go for it. Trust me.
Everybody pit this time.
Nick Payne is the spotter.
Heard a lot of rev limiter right there. That tells me that there's good speed in that car.
The juice is all right here on entry. Told you.
Well, we saw that in the first round with SVG. Now we're seeing it again with Brad Keselowski. As you get to pit road right there, just does a great job under braking, and that's been the difference maker.
And it's a fine line.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Slid into the box perfect.
Oh, a little trouble getting that left rear tire off.
All green, all green.
Not the stop they were looking for.
23rd on the pit stop. Seventh for Reddick, 130.17. Yep, they're still in it. There's Michael McDowell. He has changed to street clothes. McDowell in the black shirt out there, cheering his crew on.
At this point,
I'm seeing the dejection right there.
Yeah, you see both sides of the fence right there. You see the dejection and the celebration from 2 different perspectives.
Ryan Blaney making his 9th All-Star appearance. 6th or better in the last 5 All-Star events. You're hearing Tim Fedua, the spotter.
Well, we definitely know the speed in this car has been there pretty much everywhere that we have been, so we expect Blaney to be fast, but it all starts right here, trying to get a good starting spot.
Really close to Brad Keselowski. Ooh.
Yeah, probably carried a little too much speed into that first section, but we saw him check up, so we'll see if that was enough to keep that speed in the correct time category.
And he's carrying first gear all the way to the box.
That seems to be the Penske choice. A little trouble on the right rear.
He came in and swooped out a little bit. You can see that when the nose is pointed out.
Green first gear.
Not what they were looking for in the box.
No, the crew was 24th.
Hold, don't hit the box. Oh, that's coming in.
Eighth for Blaney, 130.3.
3 cars left.
Uh-oh. Speeding, entering pit road.
And that's what we saw. We saw him get in there really deep and then tried to check it up to balance that out, but just didn't get it all. Didn't get it woed down enough.
We're running out of contestants.
3 to go.
I'm rooting for these guys at this point.
Chase Elliott. It's his 10th All-Star race. He qualified with his Texas win last year. He won the All-Star race at Bristol in 2020.
And I like this format. It gives all these teams, these pit crews, a chance to compete against one another. Open, All-Star, doesn't matter. $100,000 is yours.
But coming in here, could you have believed that the pit crew ranked 32nd would be sitting all evening on a chance to win $100,000?
Reminds me of the 1 or 2 times I ever sat on the pole of a race. That baby just slid right in a slot perfect, and you mounted it right back to the floor, and everything worked out.
All right, spotter Trey Poole calling Chase into the box.
10 and line.
Alan Gustafson's crew.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right on the mark.
Oh, trouble
in right front.
Can't get that right front off again.
We've seen that several times. You see him correcting that front wheel as they go back around.
Yeah, and that's going to keep that 71 team up on top of the board.
Is trying to set that right front. Keeps the jackman from coming around and the changer from coming around. Affects the whole
And
stop.
as fast as these pit stops are, I mean, just a little hiccup like that just puts you all the way in the trunk from the ranking standpoint.
Look at the difference that pit stop makes in that ghost car. I mean, he drove off the screen.
And as I see Brad sit up on top of the board right here, I just think back to Joey Logano last year, if this can hold, and how it turned his season around.
8th for Elliott. Those pit crew, they are all ex-college football players on Michael McDowell's crew, and one of them played in the NFL for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dale Holofield, the Jackman.
Well, we know this team knows how to win this competition, so this will be a major bullet to dodge right here.
Christopher Bell's crew has won the Pit Crew Challenge the last 2 years in a row. It's Bell's 5th All-Star appearance.
Green, run a full lap.
That is Stevie Reeves, the spotter.
Seen a lot of loose cars as this sun has gone down. Seems like we've seen a lot more loose cars as we've gone through the on-track piece of this qualifying session.
It's all going to come down to pit entry on Bell's part, on his behalf, and this pit crew. These guys have experience. They've been together a long time. They eat pressure.
And they're the crew to beat. They came in here as the favorites and defending 2-time Mechanics Wear Pit Crew champions.
9 red.
He did decent, but that lap that Brad was way ahead of him. Come on, pit crew. See what you got. Again, remember, it doesn't matter about that lap. For the $100,000 pit crew challenge,
4,
this
3,
right here is all that
2,
matters.
1.
Oh, they went on pretty fast.
So far, so good.
Uh-oh, just a little bit of trouble.
Still pretty fast.
Yellow.
Woo! 5th
Going
at
to
12.70.
yellow.
Did you see that little bitty hiccup on the left front? That's all it took.
2,
And the difference on pit road, only 12/100ths of a second difference in the stop, 1st to 5th.
I don't even call that a mistake.
No.
That was just, it just wasn't perfect.
On race day, it would have been a great stop.
100%.
Just a hiccup, one hiccup.
Checkered flag.
2nd for Christopher Bell, 128.25. So let's show you the difference between 12:58 and 12:70.
That close to making it 3 in a row. I love it.
And then there was one.
100,000 Smackatellis.
And that
it's
one
on the
is
line.
William Byron in his 7th All-Star appearance. Finished 19th in 2 All-Star races at North Wilkesboro. Brandon Lyons, the spotter. Rudy Fugel, the crew chief.
He's hanging on, coming off a 4 really loose race car, Kev.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the norm as we've gone through the end of this session. There are a lot of loose race cars, but William Byron coming to the green was definitely sideways.
Watch this ghost car coming on the pit road.
Second gear, 1 red, 3, 2, 1, lights.
Well, he eased it a bit because a little hot at the line.
Well, that's only one part of the equation, Mike. Here we go.
10 away, 1 red.
Here we go.
5, 4,
all
3,
for the money.
2, 1, right here.
Stop right on the marks. Right side clean.
You ready? You ready?
Sink so far. Oh, a little bit of hiccup on the left front. I think it's too much.
1.
17th for Byron's crew.
1. Clear off.
William Byron is 5th, 129.1. This pit crew played football at Kansas State, Tennessee, Chattanooga, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest, and they have just won $100,000, Jamie.
And Mike, this is the first official season that any of these guys have pitted on a cup team, all recruited by Hendrick Motorsports. Dax, get on over here. You told me you couldn't even sleep. You've been thinking about this moment. What does this mean? You guys are the top pit crew and you take home $100,000.
Yeah, man, this is awesome. This is definitely beyond my wildest dreams. You know, I was up at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, Monday night, trying to figure out what I wanted for a setup. My man Travis and 71 team got it for us, and yeah, we've been working hard this year. We're probably the youngest team on pit road, and it's just hard work and determination. That's what sets apart today, I'd say. But yeah, it's been awesome.
How about the nerves? You guys went out 15th, and you had to wait for all those cars and all those pit crews.
I got no words. I can't breathe. I blacked out during the stop. I can't think. I don't really know. Thank you.
Congratulations. Well done, guys. Top pit crew. Their driver right here, MC driver, Michael McDowell.
Well, there is their stop, 12.587 seconds. They win it by 13 one-thousandths of a second, and they're $100,000 richer. Brad Keselowski has won the pole, and we'll talk to him next.
Buying a car is kind of a big deal, and you deserve something you love.
Our night, Brad Keselowski, on a year where a lot of things have gone wrong. Tonight, you got it all right.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking cool, man. You know, to win the pole for the All-Star, I've never done that. It's one of the things I've never done in my career, and to do it by so much, like that, was that like 9/10? But a total team effort. You know, the pit crew, and Jeremy Mullins, the team that gave me a rock-solid car and a rock-solid pit stop and said, here you go. Here's the ball, and I nailed the lap, and just really proud, happy for everybody, particularly Salmon Plumbing. You know, founder Danny passed away a few weeks ago. I know his whole family's watching, and it's the first race with them back on the car, and with ECU Pirates colors on it. So we're leading from the green. We're the first pole of the year, so it feels good.
Good to see you smiling. Have fun tomorrow. Thanks.
And that gives him the pole for the heat and for the All-Star race. Tomorrow on FS1 and 2, Truck Series qualifying, the Window World 250 truck race, and the Cup Series heat races. You want to stay tuned for this Cars Tour race that's coming up next. When Jack McNelly started this tour, he said, no bump and run. We're going to have racing, and you're going to see it right here for the first time on FS1 next.
Did you know Toyota has 3 NASCAR Cup teams?